All right, looks like we are live on social media. So, welcome to another edition of Wealthy and Wise Wednesdays, where I share a few words of financial wisdom to help put you back in the driver's seat of your financial future. Today is Wednesday, June 16th. Thanks for joining me. Today, we're going to do a brief introduction to the Don't Worry, Retire Happy formula made popular by Tom Hegna, who is a professional author and speaker. He travels the world training and coaching financial advisors, but also educating clients as well. And I know that retirement can be a really complicated subject for people, and that's really my area of expertise. So over the next 10 or 12 minutes, we're going to do an intro to the Don't Worry, Retire Happy formula. And if you hang in there until the end, I'll be giving some details on how to do a free giveaway. So I'm excited to share this information with you. And I'm hoping now that restrictions are loosening a little bit with COVID, that I will soon be able to present this information in full at educational workshops in the area. So I'm excited to just share an intro of this with you. So let's get to it. All right, so let's pull up my trusty screen here where we've got all of this information that I can share with you. And so again, my information is on your screen, and this is from the Don't Worry, Retire Happy Retirement Solutions for Life. So today, again, I'm just giving you an introduction and a framework to explain how you can confidently plan to spend your retirement years happy and worry-free. So, most people never take the time to educate themselves on this topic the way that you're doing. So just kudos to you. So if you're online, if you're taking the next 10 or 12 minutes to watch this video or listen to my voice, that means you really have the commitment and the dedication to improve your financial education and your financial literacy. And again, stay tuned until the end. I'll be doing a free giveaway. And I think one of my big gripes is just the lack of financial education in society today in general. I mean, wouldn't it be great if the schools taught you how to do financial planning and how to secure your retirement? It would, but they don't. They don't teach you about money at all. But with the Don't Worry, Retire Happy program, you can think of it as your personal retirement course. Now, again, this is not specific financial advice, but it is education, and it is a framework that we can then take the framework and apply it to your specific financial lives. And it doesn't matter if you're 30 and you have many years to go, or it doesn't matter if you're retiring in 2 years. This information is very valuable to show you how to structure your financial lives and the key things that you should be thinking about. So today, you're going to learn that retiring well and living happily ever after, it doesn't need to be one of those fairy tales, okay? But the thing is, retirement's become more and more of a struggle for people. Have you ever wondered whatever happened to the happy and happily ever after? Because believe it or not, there was a time in this country when people could retire gracefully and worry-free. Their employer held a nice going away party for them, presented them with a shiny gold watch, and then gave them a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of their lives in the form of a pension. But they gave them this guaranteed paycheck as a way of saying thank you for your service and to keep them comfortable during retirement and allow them to live happily ever after, just like those fairy tales of old. But it doesn't work that way anymore. So what happened? Well, most people don't have a traditional pension anymore. Most corporations have replaced their defined benefit pension plans with what's called a defined contribution plan. You probably know of it as the 401k. Now, back in the 1980s, over 60% of US workers were covered by a pension. And so they were able to retire like the pyramid that you see on the left. But by 2007, that number was cut in half to 30%. And coming out of the financial crisis, by 2011, that number had dropped to just 18%. So understanding the transition from corporate pensions to an employee savings program, it's really important because the 401ks were originally intended to supplement corporate pension plans, not outright replace them. But what actually happened? Companies caught on to the fact that doing a 5% match on a 401k was a heck of a lot cheaper and financially sustainable than providing a pension for the rest of somebody's life. So in most areas, pensions have been completely replaced with 401ks. And that is exactly what has happened to the happy retirement. It's been replaced with a worry-filled do-it-yourself retirement, just like the pyramid on the right, because most people have very little, if any, pension income anymore. Social Security still does play a pretty important role, but now more than ever, people have to rely on their personal savings and on their own retirement nest egg. So now we personally have to take responsibility, as well as all of the investment risk for our own retirement planning. And here's another concern. People are living longer than ever before. And you know something else? Married people live longer than single people. I have no idea why, but it is a fact. Now you can see here on this graph that for a 65-year-old married couple, their life expectancy for the man is age 85, for the woman is age 88. But as a couple, their life expectancy is age 92. Now think about that. So half of the couples watching this video will see one of you actually live to age 92. 25% of you will see one of you live to age 97, and more people are actually living to be age 100. Now, this is good news, and it's largely due to medical innovations and healthier living. But when you consider the millions of Americans who are approaching retirement and who already feel like they haven't saved as much as they had hoped to, it's easy to see why so many Americans are so worried about a time that's supposed to be their golden years. And so we're going to provide some help for you today. Now, did you know that there are 78 million baby boomers who are reaching retirement age? And this is the time when people need guaranteed lifetime income more than ever. They need things like pensions more than ever. And guess what? They don't have it. And to add to all of the anxiety and all of the confusion, what's worse is that if you were to ask 50 different financial advisors one very simple question: how should I retire? What's the best way to go about doing that? You know what you're going to get? You're going to get 50 different opinions on what you ought to do. Well, isn't that interesting? You see, retirement has been studied in depth by PhDs and economists all over the world, from Wharton to Toronto to Israel. And you know what I can tell you? Based on their research, and I've read their research during my studies to earn my advanced retirement planning designation. Now, based on their research, there is not 50 optimal ways to retire. There is really just one optimal way to retire. And that's not my opinion. That's mathematical, scientific, and economic fact. So what I'm going to do during this course is I'm not going to give you a bunch of my opinions. What we do is we lay out the math and the science behind the optimal retirement. So when you leave this mini course that we're doing here, again, this is just 10 or 12 minutes. I feel, I invite you to check out more information, but when you get done, you'll feel much more empowered. You'll have the knowledge and you'll have the tools to live the optimal retirement and to maximize your experience. Don't worry, retire happy. That's our motto. Now, here's a couple keys. Everybody thinks that retirement is so complicated, but the more that we study retirement, the simpler and simpler and simpler that it gets. Because the ultimate success of your retirement is going to depend on your answers to my next two questions. And guess what? I'm not going to ask you how much you've accumulated in your 401k or if you have a lot of equity in your big fancy house. Why? Because the ultimate success of your retirement, it's not about your assets. Let me repeat that. The ultimate success of your retirement is not about your assets. That's what we have been trained to believe by the financial planning industry and by Wall Street. Now, here's a real paradigm shift. Why is this the case? Well, because your assets, they can be lost, they can be stolen, they can be swindled, they can be divorced, they can be sued, they can be decimated in a stock market crash, or they can be wiped out by long-term care. So no, the success of your retirement really isn't about your assets. It is about your income. And I would argue guaranteed lifetime income. So again, the two key questions here that we're going to ask is, number one, how much guaranteed lifetime income do I have? Now notice, I didn't ask you, what was the return on your investment portfolio last year? That will actually have very little to do with the success of your retirement. Far more important, how much guaranteed lifetime income do you have? Do you have enough income to cover your basic living expenses and to provide you what I like to refer to as a play check for all of your recreational and lifestyle goals? So number one, how much guaranteed lifetime income do I have? And then number two, have I taken the key retirement risks off the table? Your answers to those two questions will ultimately determine the success of your retirement. So the whole approach, this entire don't worry, retire happy strategy, is designed to maximize your spendable income and then building the plan around neutralizing these key retirement risks that can knock you off course. I don't have time to go into all of these risks right now, but the full course does talk about each one of these risks and how to neutralize these key retirement risks. So again, the entire strategy or the plan is built around maximizing income and then taking these key retirement risks off the table. So if you're really focused on retirement and you want to know what to do, I'm just going to introduce you to the 7 key steps for planning and living the optimal retirement. If you're able to do these things, whether it's with me or whether you already have good help from your current advisor, if you're able to do these 7 things, you have a great chance of living the optimal retirement. And number one is to work with somebody who specializes in the retirement planning arena to create a plan. Number two is you must learn how to maximize your Social Security benefits. That's one of the biggest mistakes that I see retirees make. In fact, it's estimated that over 90% of retirees end up taking Social Security to their detriment instead of their benefit. Number three is to consider working a hybrid retirement. Instead of just quitting work altogether, maybe you work part-time. Maybe you do some consulting. Maybe you open a small business. Find a way to generate additional income and delay tapping into your retirement resources, delay taking Social Security, things of that nature. Number four, now we've been talking this entire time about taking guaranteed income that's going to allow you to pay all your bills and to live the kind of lifestyle that you want. So why would it even be necessary to have a portfolio, let alone worry about optimizing it? Well, remember, here's the thing. Even if you have all of your basic expenses covered today, guess what? 8, 10, 12, 20 years down the road, as inflation goes to work and rears its ugly head, the purchasing power of that income is going to be reduced. So we must have a portfolio with some market investments that's going to allow us for capital appreciation in order to offset the effects of inflation. So we need to take that into consideration. So it's really about combining market investments with income producing vehicles that will cash flow to you like crazy to have the right balance for income today, but also growth for tomorrow to offset the effects of inflation. Then number 6, we can't forget about planning for long-term medical costs, because medical costs can absolutely wipe you out. So that's something that needs to be planned for in order for you to live a happy and optimal retirement. And then finally, another resource is using your home equity wisely. Now, for everybody, this might be a little bit different. If they need to use their home equity, it might be selling their house and downsizing. It might be doing a cash out refinance or a home equity line of credit to produce a little bit of extra income. It might be a reverse mortgage to generate tax-free cash flow. Again, we analyze this and apply it to your own specific situation, but home equity can be a huge asset for retirement, but it's important that we use it wisely. So that's wrapping up for today. And again, today's presentation is based on the best-selling book by author Tom Hegna, Don't Worry, Retire Happy, which was then turned into a public TV special. And it has aired in over 80 million homes since its debut in November of 2014. Now, I'm proud that I've been coached and mentored by Tom himself. And so it's with great pleasure and his permission that I'm able to bring you these resources and bring you this presentation from Don't Worry, Retire Happy. Now, for the free giveaway. Now, I don't do these videos every week and put out this content only to pimp my own services and, try to get new clients, but obviously that does happen. But it's also my way of educating, and it's also my way of giving back. And I am an educator at heart, so I love doing these things. So what we're going to be doing this week is a drawing in order to win some free resources from Tom Hegna. And it's really, really easy what you have to do to enter into this drawing. We're going to do the drawing on Saturday morning, but this is all you have to do. 3 things. Number 1, you have to like this video. Number 2, you have to comment below with the format that you want, because there's 3 types of formats. You can win a free book. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of a glare there. So a free book. There is also an audio book available, and there's a DVD. So number 1, like the video. Number 2, comment below. Do you want a book? Do you want an audio book, or do you want the DVD? And then simply share this video on your page on social media, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. So again, to be entered into the drawing, and we're going to draw 3 winners Saturday morning. Like the video, comment below with the format that you want. Again, there's a book, there's an audio book, and there's a DVD. And then share this video to your social media. Do those 3 things, and you'll be entered into the drawing to win your free retirement planning resource from the expert himself, Tom Hegna. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in and taking the time to watch this content. I hope that it helped. Again, like, comment, and share for your free retirement planning resource. Don't worry, retire happy. Now, I would be remiss and probably be in a lot of trouble when I go this in depth. So I got to share my standard disclaimers here about the fact that during our planning conversations, we do talk about taxation, and we do talk about wills and trusts and things of that nature, but I am not a CPA or a tax or legal attorney. So please make sure that you consult those professionals during the course of your planning. And then to put up my disclaimers about the investment advisory firm that I work with, the different insurance companies that I work with, and that any examples shown during the presentation are just hypothetical and shown for illustrative and educational purposes. Again, so that's going to wrap up for today. That's my rant. And as always, thanks for listening.